What is going on, everybody? BobbyFi here. Sheets is out still with his wife and everything, so hopefully all's going well there. But for right now, it's going to be just me. We're going to talk through this big baseball slate here tonight. Quickly going to touch on yesterday. Kind of frustrating. I thought I was so wrong about the Jags game, but I had a really good chance to win the 333 showdown, and with like 2 minutes left until the McLaurin touchdown, I was tied for first for 65,000 for the Wildcat, and then ended up being a slightly losing night overall. So it was kind of frustrating how that happened, but we're on to another one. We're on to baseball. Last week of the regular season, big games going on all around. And always nice right off the bat when you take a quick look and you see the highest owned teams are going to be the Cardinals and Angels, because I think we can find other things to do. That's sort of my take. There is some weather to keep an eye out for today. I'm just going to touch on what that is really quick first. We'll talk about it more at 6 Eastern. But we got Tampa Bay at Detroit. I'm sorry, not that one. Yeah, Detroit, Cleveland. Those are a little bit risky. The White Sox Angels game is a little risky, and the Kansas City Washington game, because Washington, we just never trust them, even though it doesn't look like there's a ton of rain. That's just they're consistently the worst and end up postponing the most games of anybody. It's a huge game for the Royals, though. They need to try and hold on to their playoffs for Sheets bets, if nothing else. All right, well, let's get it started. We're going to talk Baltimore and Yankees, big series. I'm just going to double check the standings while we go through this because I didn't update today. But these, I think we're still fighting pretty much. Almost everybody still has something here or there. They're not fighting for the division anymore. But actually, you know what? This one is actually not as relevant as I thought it was going to be. I thought there were still 4 games. So the Yankees have it basically wrapped up. Anyway, Clark Schmidt and Kremer. I think Schmidt you can consider. I'm just going to see what his K expected rate is, 5.65. I think you could consider both of these guys for the price, but neither one stands out as being like an exceptional option to me. And I don't really like messing with these offenses, but I don't have to. But do keep an eye out to see if maybe we get a weaker lineup from Baltimore today. I don't think we will, but just throwing it out there because these are not teams I really particularly want to try to pick on. The Yankees have faced Kremer enough times to where I think we could consider like maybe a stack here, but I think there might be some other spots. So I have the Yankees as probably my highest level of interest in this game. Potentially Clark Schmidt. Yeah, I'm open to it. The Yankees, for what it's worth, though, have been really good against Kremer. Fairly reasonable sample size by modern day baseball standards anyway. So look, I think the Yankees are certainly in play here. I'll just put them on my first one on my list here. All right. And then you've got Schmidt as an outside looking in guy. All right, we're going to move over to Boston, Toronto. We'll go through the games real quick. We'll run one Saberson build for the lottery, and then before we get out of here, Bowden Francis and Brian Bello. Now, this is a strange one because Francis has been really good. I don't know. He's been really good in real life. The strikeout rate is kind of just aggravatingly low. Usually, he did strike out 6 in his last game, but coming off of the 1 strikeout near no hitter. And then they just have been inconsistent, I guess I would say, the strikeouts. Not even the rate. His rate actually looks okay because he's had some good games. We've got him at 5.89 today. I'm totally good with considering him. I'm not sure. This is not like going to be, we have no Devers. It's not the best Boston lineup ever. Bello getting no love at all. I guess it's because of the strikeout. It's hard to strike out these Blue Jays. I think Bello's in play, sort of in the same way that maybe Schmidt's in play, but not an exciting play either way. I do have Francis as a little bit better than those guys, so I'm gonna circle Francis for now. And as far as the offenses go, I could talk myself into Boston to Toronto. I'm gonna take a quick look because we have all these rivalry games, so I'm gonna get a little BVP sampling of what they've done against each other. Bello, let's see, Brian Bello, and it's not as big a sample size as I thought. They have absolutely crushed him, so I guess Toronto may be like a thin team to take a shot at. All right. Mets and Braves we'll jump over to next. Sorry, I'm a little slow this morning, guys. I like doing these shows with 2 people. It's always weird to me to do them with 1. Schwellenbach and Severino. Kind of an interesting matchup here because I sort of thought that Schwellenbach would look a little bit better than he does. Strikeouts seem a little lower than I thought they were going to be. It's a big game for the Mets. But the Braves can strike out too, and Severino has been solid enough. I think both these pitchers, and again, I hate to be a broken record. I'll try and tighten it up by the end, but I think that both these pitchers are completely in play. And I think that you don't have to play either of them. I also think that you could make an interesting argument for the Atlanta stack against Severino at low ownership. Look, it's 86 degrees in Atlanta. There is still pop from this offense. So I'll put Atlanta as, again, sort of similar to the Yankees as a team to consider. But Severino has been good. So I'm considering all the aspects of this one, except for I'm not really interested in the Mets at all. But I do think Schwellenbach at low ownership is kind of appealing to me. All right, we're going to move back over to the Angels and White Sox. As I mentioned before, there is a little bit of risk and weather in this game. Here's a trivia question for you guys. There's one team that has not scored 10 runs in baseball this year. Guess which team it is? Well, I'll just go ahead and tell you. It is the Angels. And even the White Sox have gotten there once. So you have actually, considering the size of the slate, a fairly chalky-ish Angels stack. I'm okay. It's not like it's crazy high owned or anything, but they're showing up as the second highest owned offense behind St. Louis. And look, they're cheap. It's canon. I think that both these offenses look about the same to me. And, for what it's worth, a little bit of wind blowing out, 10-mile-an-hour winds blowing out in Chicago today, 66 degrees tonight. I don't see why that either of these teams look much better than the other. So I have both sides of this game as in play. And again, I don't want to play the second chalkiest stack on this slate, but obviously a good spot for the Angels. But I like the spot as well for the White Sox, even as inept as they are. You can certainly, whether you want to stack them fully or not, maybe using them as a mini stack is an interesting way to go. All right, we're moving over to Miami and Minnesota and going to jump in Weathers and Ober. Excuse me. I think Ober is the best I've felt about any of the pitchers we've talked about so far. I think that he's clearly going to be in, the highest owned for me, at least of the guys we've mentioned. And I also like the Twins. I'm kind of surprised. Why aren't the Twins getting more ownership? Little bit weird to me that they're not. So, Weathers sort of a streaky guy. He's been, much better since the All-Star break, but I think we could take a shot. The Twins are awesome against lefties. This feels like a really, really good stack to me. So as far as the stacks we've talked about so far, I think Minnesota might be my favorite. You got Buxton back in there now. Margot should be in there at 2.3 leading off. Yes, there's pinch hit risk for a ton of guys, but I think if you could find the right ones, this could end up being a good stack. This is definitely one I want to be overweight on tonight for sure. All right, Seattle and Houston. All right, so we've got Valdez and Gilbert. Seattle's still clinging to hanging on to their lives for the playoffs here. Both real good real life pitchers. Definitely not interested in the stacks. I have it Valdez, then Gilbert, because Gilbert's a little bit better at home in general. But remember, this wasn't the best lineup they released yesterday. We don't know if Jordan Alvarez will be in the lineup today. But if he's out of the lineup again, maybe I'll switch that even. But I think both of these are two that I'm strongly considering, Gilbert and Valdez, for basically all slate types. I'm just curious where they have Valdez strikeout. Yeah, they've got him. We got Valdez at 6.2. I think Ober's at 6.2 as well. So he is expensive, but I think that both these guys are firmly in play and not going to get to either of the bats. All right, so we're going to jump over to Colorado, and I'm just going to take a look at the weather here. 74 degrees, basically no wind. Looks like a good spot for both sides with Feltner and McGreevy. Someone's going to have to explain to me. I understand that the Colorado's offense is bad and all these things, but it's not like St. Louis has been, tearing things up this year. I like the idea of going to Colorado today. Charlie Blackmon just retired. A little let's score 20 runs for Charlie Blackmon on his way out. So I like Colorado, and St. Louis I have just pieces. There's no way I'm playing any full stacks, at least as of right now, unless I find something different pitching-wise, which I haven't found yet. And maybe Severino would be something, but I just don't think we need to play the chalkiest team in this type of situation. But I do think 4 or less is going to be my rule for them. I would play them, just probably want to have 4 or less. Moving over to San Francisco and Arizona, and I'm going to throw out that I think this is probably going to be, just considering how little it is, it might be the last first look we do. Maybe we'll finish out this week, but there's just like nobody checking it out anymore, and we're going to be live anyway for the same slate. So I'm sort of throwing it up in the air myself. Just I don't know what to do about it. I love doing the shows with you guys, but they're not interactive and there aren't really people there. They're certainly not as much fun. All right. San Francisco and Arizona here. We've got Webb and Fott. Fott has just been, man, he's been really good. I mean, he's been really good outside of that one start. He put up 40s last time out against Milwaukee, struck out 12. Not a guy we usually think of for being a huge strikeout ceiling, but he's sort of showed his upside a little bit this year. Logan Webb has a decent history with Arizona, so I'm just going to make sure, going to look at a little BVP and see what the Logan Webb. Oh, there it is. Just to get an idea of, they faced him a number of times. Yeah, it's about what you'd expect. Low strikeout rate. They don't hit him hard either. Yeah, probably going to be a no interest in the hitting game. But I do like Fott. I will consider him. He's a little behind the other guys for me, but he's certainly going to you can make the case for him. The Giants have struck out more this year. And if you're getting frisky, if you're playing like the night slate, I think you could argue for the Giants in the night slate. And I just can't quite get to Webb in a tough matchup. I keep saying this about Arizona. They don't strike out. They're really hard to play pitchers against because they hit the ball like crazy. They don't strike out. Love Webb as a real life pitcher. Not been his best year, but still, I think Fott's probably the only thing I can get to in this game. Texas and Oakland. I don't think there's going to be a lot of people at this one. We've got Eovaldi, and I guess because it's Oakland, we just have to consider him. Why can't we consider Mitch Spence here at 6,300? I'm writing Spence down as one of the guys I'm going to use, and I never play Eovaldi, but he's going to be on my list today because I just feel so wish-washy about the pitching. So I'm going to have to make some decisions a little bit later as far as that goes. But as of right now, I do like Eovaldi a little bit, and I have some interest in Mitch Spence. I think there's an argument here for both sides of this stack-wise, and it's not exciting to stack a game in Oakland, but it is a little bit warmer. It's 72 today. Not a great hitter's park, as we know. I just thought of it as something different. Maybe it's more just, I guess maybe it's more just a few little pieces. Guys like Lawrence Butler, Langoliers, Soderstrom's cheap. On the Texas side, we're not used to seeing Simeon this low. Back a little little revenge against his old team. Yeah, I can see Texas, I guess, being a little bit of a stack and maybe some pieces from Oakland, but certainly nothing that qualifies for the priority list. Then we go back to San Diego and the Dodgers in what is a massive series to try to win the NL West. San Diego quietly has just been unbelievable the second half of the year. We've got King and Landon Knack here. Now, when I feel like there's this many offenses that I'm sort of unsure of, I actually think both these offenses are really strong plays. They're not going to get much ownership. It is cooler. It's a cooler night in Dodger Stadium, but it's going to have 10-mile-an-hour winds blowing out, helping out a little bit. King has been really good all year. Landon Knack has been surprisingly to me just awesome in 3 of his last 5 starts. I think he's a solid pitcher, but I don't think he's anything special. I think you can get to him. So I'm sort of on board with the Dodgers and Padres as a game stack. So let's get a little bit of exposure to that. And sort of to round things out here, I've got sort of deciding between, narrowed it down to Francis, Ober, Valdez, Gilbert, Fott, Spence, and Eovaldi. Spence is a little bit fringy. The other ones, both sides of the Angels-White Sox game, but I don't really want to stack fully 5-man the Angels. Also, there's some weather we have to look out for in that one. Love Minnesota today. Love Colorado. And then San Diego and the Dodgers as contrarian spots, along with potentially the Yankees, Blue Jays, and Braves. So I'm going to make some decisions as the day goes on, figure out a little bit more. Let's see what SaberSim tries to give us. We're going to run a build real quick. Let's do it in the lottery. Why not? I'm having the opposite problem. And the thing I do in baseball, you know what? Not the immaculate inning. Let me do this. I like to, in football, my biggest problem has been overstacking. And I think it's just like a result of playing so much baseball this year. You just get used to the stacking and you kind of go after games. And it's been the one thing that's stopping me because I could have had some huge days. Still doing well, just not as well as I'd like. All right, let's do the rally cap. Okay, there we go. We are going to do this, and we are going to use the Sims to build this out. All right, let's. We got to change a couple things. I wonder, Sheets is still out, just as a reminder, but I am going to import Goldie's projections just to get a little bit different, and then I'm just going to make a couple of hand edits to allow me to build, and we're off and running. Oh, all right, guys. Any predictions on what stack they're going to give us here? I'm going to bet it's off the board, like way off the board. Maybe Atlanta, maybe Colorado, maybe Toronto. I don't know. I'm actually struggling a little bit trying to figure out which one this is going to be. The Giants, because they're cheap, maybe show up. Maybe the Giants are actually not the worst idea. Let me see what Fox history is against them while this is running. I know he's faced them a bunch of times, and I'm sure he's had some good and bad results. No, he hasn't faced them. He only faced them one time and gave up 2 home runs, for what it's worth. All right, so let's see. We've got the build. Let's see what it gives us before and then after we run the sims. Let's give it a second here, guys. Thanks, Alan. I appreciate it, buddy. Appreciate the kind words. It always helps. We, sometimes you feel like you're out on your own island out here, and then it just feels a little funny. So, yeah, they went huge Eovaldi. I'm probably not going to be as big a fan of that over Valdez. Everybody else is in my list. I guess I have to, Schmidt. I still don't know why we're so high on Schmidt, but I gotta reconsider that one. Bello's an interesting get different play. And let's see what they got for team stacks. San Diego, as I mentioned, the Dodgers, San Diego, I like. Texas, I certainly get behind that. I don't like the Seattle one quite as much. And let's see, we've got San Diego, 5-man stacks, Texas, San Francisco. That's sort of there. Okay, so let's run the sim now, and then we're gonna run the contest sim and see what it gives us. I don't know if it's gonna change all that much because these are pretty contrarian. It's going to change. It's going to maybe spread out a little bit. All right. So we're waiting. Then we're going to sort by RA, ROI. And then we're going to mess with the min uniques a little to see if maybe we can't get maybe a little bit more of what we want. All right. Let's see what we got here. Come on, Sims. Come on. Do your thing. Do your thing. All right. All right. Flagship MLB, ROI. All right. Yeah. I see you. So they're spread out a little bit more. They really like the Seattle thing. Okay. Seattle, San Francisco, the Mets, who I didn't really think about that long. I don't know. I don't know against Schwellenbach that I want to do that, even though he's had a few struggles recently. And you see they're getting to Ober the most. Francis. Yeah, this is more of the pitching that I would sort of expect. A little more, wow, Logan Webb a little bit, huh? It's interesting. Let's mess with the min uniques a little bit and see if it changes much. Not really much change in there. Doesn't seem like it's going to change very much. Let's go to team stacks. Really not changing anything. Let's see if we can get any different. Really not going to matter, huh? Let's try 6. There we go. And it starts to change a little bit. But that's what SaberSim's giving you right now. I do like. I think that San Francisco is an interesting contrarian stack. But look, I mean, there's no obvious spots tonight, so I think just playing the chalk is the wrong way to go. I would avoid that St. Louis as a 5-man. Again, get pieces if you want to, but I'm not playing a 5-man St. Louis. If they score the most runs, so be it. We lose, we move on to the next day. Even if they score the most runs, there's other ways to get there too. That team is really annoying. They've just been in so many good spots this year, and they always seem to let me down. Anyway. Appreciate you guys. Click a like on the way out. Thumbs up. We appreciate all the likes and everything. We do want to keep doing these videos, but we're going to need to have some more attention to some of these early ones if we're going to keep doing them. Although we only have a week left in the season. So anyway, guys, appreciate you all very much. Hopefully everybody has a great day.